Who am I? More correctly, who am I trying to be? In make-up, sex, and cheesy song quotes, I wondered, who am I trying to be? I thought you and I could go anywhere, but we just went down, lower than the tears that stain the ground, like these scars that line our arms, permanent marks never to be washed away by a simple flood of emotion, lower than all the love notes I wrote you, now burned away, lower than the ash blown away in the winds of the past we once happily shared. No, in fact, it was quite lower than that. Something will happen. If the moon ever shines to the stars and the sun begins its descent, the world suddenly begins to end. Won't you stand and hold my hand as we watch everyone else slip into insanity, arming themselves for post-apocalyptic warfare, hinging on the brink of the Good Samaritan and the social Darwinistic will to survive? Won't you stand and hold my hand? I find myself staring at these four walls again, left alone to wander my thoughts, leaving me only with questions. Who am I trying to be? As if in an intellectual argument with fate, as if false signs were only meant to define the certain highlights in our lives. Anyone can write about the colors of roses and violets, but it takes true heart to write about pain and violence. So let's play a game. Here's my number. Call me sometime. We'll spend every waking hour texting, talking, laughing, and joking. I'll take you out so we can dance under moon and star to the slowest songs with the fastest motives. Mind you, every game has its rules, and whoever falls in love first loses. Come, take a walk with me under these stars. Forgive me if I try to steal a kiss or two, perhaps three, because Poe may have loved with a love that was more than a love. But darling, you were my Annabel Lee. Left standing at an altar, my bleeding heart was my only falter. In the presence of love's demise, I could only sit and cry. Truly, I told myself you and I could go anywhere. But how can we survive when you, being the air that swelled my lungs, now gripped my throat and filled my nostrils with a poison? Poison like the alcohol you now obsess, drinking to a stupor without a second guess. Is it possible that all these fights are just because love is worth fighting for? It makes me wonder if you're fighting with, for, or against me. I knelt and asked God who I was meant to be. Before I could realize I had never been to church, you smashed the bottle on the floor and walked away from me. That's when it hit me that God had never answered, and He never would. As much as I'd like to grab time by the throat and just squeeze so I can watch it choke. It kills to watch you struggle from the other side of these bars, your room being far smaller and much more permanent than mine. Like the scars on your arms that tell our sad story, one cut at a time. You asked me to write, but I'm starting to think you aren't even worth my paper. And something will indeed happen. If the moon ever does shine to the stars and the world does begin to end, I won't need you by my side. I'll watch you drift away into the ever-fleeting madness burning alive with the rest of mankind. And before you can even utter a word from behind these metal restraints, I'll turn my back and walk the fuck away, just so you know how it feels.